What's going on? Welcome back to Know for a Fact. We've got an exciting video for you today. Death penalty facts can intrigue almost anyone. News about serial killers and death row inmates can turn heads from anywhere in the world. Most of the time people look into news about criminals because of fear and downright weird fascination. Let's face it, it's easy to wonder why people commit crimes that could possibly lead to their death. Poverty, crimes of passion, and greed are some of the most common reasons. Still, one can't help but wonder why most countries even have the death penalty. Does it have to do with the culture of a country? How can people stomach punishing criminals with death? What makes up the real reason behind the passing of capital punishment? If you think about these things too, this rundown of death penalty facts can answer a few of your questions. At the end of the day, this much is true: criminals know what they get themselves into. The moment they agree to an illegal deal or a plot to kill someone, their one foot is already in the grave. No matter how hard life may be, it pays to be careful of one's actions, as committing crimes is not worth it for the bill that you'd have to pay. These 10 mind-blowing facts about the death penalty will keep almost anyone from even thinking about doing a crime. Let's get right into it. Committing capital murder in prison happens a lot. The meaning behind capital murder differs in various different countries. Britain and Ireland included capital murder in their list of statutory offenses. This happened before the European Union or EU got rid of the death penalty in all its countries. Nowadays, capital murder usually refers to a murder committed by a person while in prison. This applies to killing any prison staff or official while incarcerated. An inmate serving time for murder should avoid capital murder. Otherwise, they might get a worse sentence. George Stinney Jr. did not deserve to die on the electric chair. One of the most heartbreaking death penalty facts is George Stinney Jr.'s case. The 14-year-old African-American boy was the youngest convict to die under capital punishment in modern history. The police arrested the young boy for the alleged brutal killings of 2 girls. In a cruel turn of events, a judge ruled out Stinney's conviction 70 years after his death. This decision came after they determined the violation of Stinney Jr.'s constitutional rights. Unfortunately, the good news came far too late for Stinney Jr.'s family, as his untimely death occurred more than 70 years ago. Did you know that death row inmates wait an average of 15 years before execution? The lengthy waiting time for executions makes it the least known cause of death of inmates on death row. The death sentences go through a lengthy process that lasts years. USA officials follow a strict protocol with death penalty cases to keep innocent inmates from wrongful executions. Only 13% of convicts face their execution. The remaining death row inmates usually die of suicide, illness, or natural causes. They also have a chance of getting released when their convictions get overturned. A long time ago, capital punishment meant banishment during Japan's Heian period. In the 4th century, Japan's judicial system followed China's influence. It included the torture and punishments that came with the death penalty. However, the country eventually stopped using these cruel methods of capital punishment. During the Heian period, Japan abolished the death penalty altogether. Because of this, banishment to remote areas became Japan's capital punishment at that time instead. Our 5th mention relates back to our mention of the young boy Stinney. Some death row inmates died without proving their innocence. In 1950, police officials arrested and executed Timothy Evans for allegedly killing his daughter. Investigators eventually learned that a serial killer was responsible for the gruesome death of Evans' daughter. He was renting a room from Evans during the crime. The true number of wrongful executions proves difficult to determine. The list of false convictions grows day by day. Having the perfect alibi doesn't really save you from being put behind bars. Fortunately, the continuous development of DNA studies can help change that. China leads the world's top proponent of the death penalty. China's notoriety comes up on almost every compilation of death penalty facts. Reports claim that China executes an average of 1,000 convicts annually. Some believe that the country's officials came up with death vans for more efficient executions. The convicts receive lethal injections while strapped on electrical stretchers. Because of this, you better think twice before committing a crime in China. This next one is sure to shock you. Some countries applied the death penalty to animals. Nowadays, only humans can face arrest for wrongfully abusing or killing animals. However, that wasn't the case in early history. Capital punishment applied to all living things back then. Different countries passed their own set of animal trials. Numerous animals faced torture and death for different crimes. An example of wrongful animal executions includes the demise of Mary the elephant. In 1916, spectators of the Sparks Circus expressed their outrage after witnessing a gruesome death. Mary the elephant, or Murderous Mary, as she was called, killed her inexperienced trainer during their performance. The audience demanded the elephant's death. To avoid further scandal, Sparks Circus publicly executed Mary in front of a large crowd. Pretty interesting, right? The U.S. spends millions on executing capital punishment. Death penalty facts always include capital punishment's expensive price. Countries practicing capital punishment set aside millions of dollars to execute criminals. But why does the death penalty come with a hefty price tag? In the U.S., the government offers to compensate the legal costs of criminals without income. They assign court-appointed lawyers or public defenders while paying for the prosecution's cost as well. Aside from that, the pretrial costs that go along with capital cases tend to pile up. The court hires experts needed for the defendant's mental health and background. Plus, the state needs to prepare payments for the jury, the whole trial, the incarceration, and the appeals filed. The whole process for the death penalty takes up a lot of time too. Trials can last more than 4 times longer than those of non-capital cases. The expensive price tag on capital punishment urged the formation of various groups aiming to end the death penalty. What do you think about this? Here's another interesting fact. Death row inmates can order their last meals. Inmates on death row get the chance to order whatever meal they want before their execution. Different states follow a budget when it comes to the requested food. Having said that, most inmates still get their last meal requests at the end of the day. Prisoners like Robert Madden asked for their last meals to be given to homeless people. Unfortunately, such requests often get rejected. Online, you can easily find a list of the last meals that convicts ordered before they faced their executions. What would be your last meal? For our final mention, the last death penalty execution in England stemmed from betrayal. Gwyn Evans and Peter Allen received capital punishment after murdering John Allen West. The killing happened after the 2 individuals worked together to rob their friend in his home. The authorities easily arrested the 2 men after they left their belongings behind. The 2 greedy men became the last people executed with the death penalty in England. So there you have it. What are your thoughts on the death penalty? Drop a comment below and let us know. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe for more daily facts. See ya!